you're unhealthily fixated on whether or not my dad are like having sex. Like, just why don't you calm down about this?
She, in a sense, handed me Grace's pussy like on a platter.
Do you want to talk it through with people and find out who's at fault? I've seen it hurt Grace, and I've seen it hurt John, and I've seen it hurt Cortney.
I'm masturbating and then feeling terrible, right? So like, it's like disaster.
So she takes it upon herself to do a regime of finger sniffing.
When they say you can't make this kind of shit up, you can't make this up, it's that type of saying is for these type of people.
We're going to get into it. BigTech versus Grace Thorp.
Let's go. You guys were here. By the way, remember, this is on my birthday. I'm streaming. We're hanging out, having fun. Somehow we end up seeing what she's doing. Wishes me happy birthday. Hey, help me out. I'm about to get partner. I need a few more, subscriptions. I'll buy one from you if you buy one from me. All right, deal. No problem. I'll help you out. While I'm trying to send her money, she's just talking shit the whole time. Of course, I'll do it.
You bitch ass nigga.
Calls me a bitch.
Please. He's not going to. He's restreaming me. He has no content. I'm going to be a petty 43-year-old bald pipe smoking bitch.
That's actually Grace W.
You bitch ass nigga, no contest nigga, you bald pipe smoking bitch.
Are you actually that petty?
Yes,
Seriously?
he is actually that petty. Yes, he absolutely is.
If he's really that insecure, he should log off.
He is indeed that insecure. Real Grace. Grace W.
Wild.
Real.
Whatever. Are you going to match the sub or what?
Real.
He's like trying to get him to give her money and just talking all this shit.
So stupid. Hey, give me $5. I really need your help, by the way. I just sang happy birthday to you, you bitch.
Clicking on bicycles and clicking on crosswalks and clicking on fire hydrants.
I'm actually on his side on that one. Kick is fucked up.
Select all squares with bicycles. There's no bicycles.
He is BigTech.
That's a motorcycle.
So antithetical to pussy that he couldn't even keep his own cat.
The idea that my cat ran away. My cat got eaten by a fucking coyote. When you lose your cat out here, it means it got eaten. Either a coyote or a hawk or an owl or something got my cat. He went out one day, didn't come home. That means he's dead. So she just likes to bring up, even your cat left you because you're such an unlikable fucking loser. No, lonely man. Even Steve said fuck you and left. Come on, BigTech. It's just banter. All we like to do, we just slander you to your face and you're supposed to just take it. And then when you're on our show, we just sort of like, talk down to you and then like hang up on you. Like, come on, buy a sub. They're just insane.
This fucking boomer takes forever to do this. Hello.
Actually, I'm not going to go dig it up, but she's got like A-logs who do, gossip streams and stuff about her. I've seen clips being sent around of this guy. Remember OPC, Don? He's the guy who's always fixing their van and doing the oil changes and fixing the sewage system and their shit tanks and whatever, sending him hundreds of dollars. He also came on one of those shows and said, you guys, she doesn't look like she looks on the stream. She's using a filter. Like you've seen pictures of her here and there where she looks like, oh, that's a really horrible picture. He's like, that's what she just looks like all the time. That's what he said.
He got his start covering Ethan fucking Ralph.
Did anyone hear about the Thorps before they were on Ethan Ralph's show? I'd never heard of Grace Thorp.
That's the only reason I know about you. Exactly. Actually, you got your start by pimping your kid's mother to Hormaxer. Before you even made it up to Ethan Ralph, you had already destroyed your family live on the internet. Pimping the mother of your children out to Hormaxer and then having these endless, struggle sessions, very feminine, complaining, blaming, horrible nightmare bullshit struggle sessions with the mother of your children until you drove her to total insanity and your family broke up and you fractured your daughter's mind into like this endless, Stockholm syndrome thing that she's got going on with you or whatever. That was you working your way up to Ethan Ralph. After you spent $2 million earning $1 million at your restaurant. Remember when he told us that? Well, yeah, I made $1 million at my restaurant. It cost $2 million to do it, but I sold $1 million of food. Not anybody could run a restaurant that sells $1 million worth of Ethiopian food. After I knocked up a girl at my Catholic school into a shotgun wedding and then pumped out 6 kids with her and then pretended I was never married to her. Their real life is more bizarre than what you could make up in... Watch some weird show where somebody's life spirals into like insanity. Breaking Bad or like Ozark or something. where it's like, oh, how bad could it get? Oh my God, they're in over their head. Holy shit, how are they going to get themselves out of this one? They did what? That's their actual life, but never anywhere as cool. Nothing as cool as that happened. Ben hasn't done anything amazing like that. I mean, like he dances with his shirt off, sings karaoke, and he manipulates the women around him until they lose their minds because he's just like so unfucking believably annoying and petty and complainy while pretending he's like the dad of the internet and he's restoring masculinity. No men will ever listen to him. So he just like LARPs as this character in his mind that's the coolest while he's just destroying everybody around him and then calling them all narcissists. And also getting mad at them when they get victimized by him. Legitimately, and they do. Like he's making everybody into victims and then he goes, oh great, now you're a victim too. Like he complains that they have become his victim. That's his whole shtick. He victimizes people and then complains about them being victims of him. Because it actually hurts him when they get hurt. That's his whole dynamic. He hurts people, and when they're hurt, it hurts him that they're hurt. But I hope that clip makes it to Ben so he can tell me what he thinks about that diagnosis. Thoughts on Ethiopian food? Looks like dog shit. Looks like badly made bread and a bunch of flavorless goop. Hello? Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, Michael.
Hi.
I just wanted to say I'm sorry.
Grace.
I really am sorry.
You sound sorry. I believe you. Wasn't a big deal.
BigTech, what's going on? Look, let's do a smooth segue. Right, kids jerk off, boys jerk off, and so I remember at one point I was on the bed jerking off, and
all right,
the ejaculate ended up.
Tell me all about it.
Across the room, and my mother came in, and she knew what it was, right? And I hadn't left it there for her to see it, but she's like, "What is this?" You see what I'm saying? And it's like, bitch. You know, just let it go. Just clean it up. The guy, you know, if anything, you should say like, well, he can blast across the room. Good for him, right? And I also remember my stepfather walking in when I'm literally jerking off. But he should have fucking knocked, excuse me, right? You know? So he walked in, didn't really say anything about it, walked out. It's tough. Here's another example. My dad, because my parents were separated, he had a small apartment. And he so he had like a queen size bed, and then he had a separate bed, but like for when we stayed over, but he always had two of us. So one would be in the bed and then one would be with him in the bed, which I don't think is a big problem. But at a certain point, I think he recognized that like I got a boner and I was like kind of, let's say, rubbing against him or something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? You don't exactly know what's real in a dream or what I was doing or whatever, but at a certain age, you'll rub your dick up against almost anything, right? And I did. I made love to vacuum cleaners, outlets in warm outlets at the YMCA. I would just like make sure to go over. You know what I mean? You're just like, okay, the cardboard inner circle of a toilet paper roll, and I would lube it. And then I'd get all fucking chafed. I actually broke my dick once trying to like drive my dick into a mattress, you know, which is like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And I was like, it actually goes like, and you're like, oh shit, that's stupid. What? How am I gonna fuck a mattress? You know? Well, at a certain point, you try to do deluxe jerking off, right? Anyways, you get like cold cuts and you warm them up in the microwave, and then you burn your dick a little bit. Whatever, right? There was a point at which I was like, okay, like there are these small vases. You get up at Salvation Army for $1. It's kind of like an early fleshlight, but it doesn't have any flesh. It's just ceramic. But then you realize there's a suction problem because as you go in, it like kind of farts out around your dick, like. And then as you're pulling out, it's like this kind of crazy suction. Anyway, so my idea was to relieve the problem by drilling a hole in the bottom. The hole was like sharp, so my dick head got like cut. You know, and I was like, okay. Yeah. And then I had a breakup with the actual little vase. Like I was at I went down to the sewer drain in the road, and I was like, that's it. I'll see you. Right? Because I didn't want to put it in the garbage, because then I'd go into the garbage and try to pick it back out again. And I remember also back in those days, like where I was, we lived near a highway off-ramp. And sometimes, there's like garbage on the side of the road of these places. They're like sort of no man's land. But I would go walking there, and sometimes there'd be porn that I don't know how it got there, but like a trucker, I guess, just like got done with it. I found a gay novel on that same side of the road. But it was one of those novels, remember, they used to have where they had like color plate, like they had photos right in the middle. There were like a bunch of photos. And these were like super gay photos of like, standing up 69ing. And I had this experience of being like somewhat stimulated, but also like wanting to puke. So I remember like, I was like, no, this isn't okay. So then I went to, there was a pond near there, and I threw the thing like into the middle of the pond. I remember we came across in the neighborhood a stash that was behind a shed behind someone's house of like straight up pornos, and they were pretty hardcore for the time. It wasn't just Playboys. I didn't bring it up to either of my parents, but I grabbed one of the magazines and tried to put it in like a plastic bag and hide it back in the woods. And I subsequently went to dig it up, and it disintegrated.
It's an interruption, but I'm needing to get like brought back into kind of where are we in relation to where this is going.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do right here. Okay, so
cool.
I had a girlfriend at one point. She was bulimic, but she didn't tell me. But I noticed her breath was a little off, but I'm like, okay, that's because she's vegetarian. Then she stole my Nutter Butters, and I was like, where are my Nutter Butters? And I found her in the bathroom. I looked through the keyhole, and there she is eating my Nutter Butters. And then it was basically over. It's like, yeah, I get it. There might be a guy who's like, okay, I'm down with that. It just wasn't me. So it's like, bye-bye. I don't care. I had this beautiful neighbor who's this Irish girl. She was just gorgeous. She still is. And once I went out to the bus early, and she had gone into her bedroom, which faced the road, and she had obviously just taken a shower, and she was tits out. And I was like, oh my God, right? Because I was in love with the girl. She had a beautiful pair of tits. Wow. So I spent a lot of time like trying to get another look at that behind trees and shit. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
But I don't really think any of that's that crazy. It's just like, So sexuality is part of humanity for all people, including kids.
Do you want to see the picture of me as a baby?
To be honest, they probably would have preferred that we got an abortion.
Whoa. Man.
See, they sawed her sternum.
Yeah.
Pulled it open and did surgery.
Dude, if my baby came out and then needed heart surgery, I would be tripping out. That would have been so stressful. How did you feel?
Well, but as a man, I mean, when the baby is so young, right? So it's like, she was just kind of a theory. I was there, but to me, she was kind of a theory. So when she came out, I didn't have an emotional connection. You know what I mean? I was just like, well, whatever.
The first time I ever saw my son, when we put him in the car seat, coming home from the hospital, the world did like a record scratch type of like, whoa, like, because I was responsible for my baby. I felt like vulnerable, and I felt like so responsible for like a life, and I was leaving the hospital where the caretakers are at, and it's just on us, and I was taking care of this child. And my whole world like changed.
A lot of guys say that. I didn't have that experience. But so I'm just saying that's my experience was like, this isn't a big deal. Like, it's kind of boring. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for this kid to get older so I can have fun. I want to have fun with this kid. And I was the type of dad who like very early on would throw the kid like 20 feet up in the air and then catch them. Because I wanted to fuck around with the kids because, you know what I mean? It was just fun to have like little people to fuck around with. And even during the breastfeeding, I would sometimes, because they're just sitting there going like, right, and so I tried actually to I trolled the kids, like I breastfed Grace once or several times on my nipple just to irritate her, and she was like, you know what I mean? I was like, well, it's just fun to play with kids and fuck around with them and troll them. Her mother was more like, oh, you should be careful. This is scary. They're delicate beings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So my thing was kind of like, yeah, okay, these are like future buddies of mine. So Grace, why don't you try to give a broad kind of global argument sexually? How was femininity presented to you by your mother and sexuality?
Well, her overall take was she was very angry about sexuality, I would say. It started with me basically telling her that I had figured out how to when I was maybe 5, which I didn't really know what it was, and she started sniffing my fingers after nap time to see if I had masturbated.
So she takes it upon herself to do a regime of finger sniffing, which Grace experiences as one of her earliest memories of being humiliated.
Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't you say that? That's clearly what's going on. Because
Absolutely.
it wasn't like, mommy's going to help you or whatever. It was just like,
Well, it was like after nap time.
show me your fingers, right?
Well,
That
it was
kind of
this interrogation, and I would lie because I was like, oh, she'd be like, so did you do it? And I didn't know you didn't know about it. I assumed it was A-okay'd by you.
No idea.
But it'd be like, did you do it? And I'd be like, no. And then she would be like, give me your fingers. So.
Okay, so there wasn't a conversation about any of this, and I can understand.
No.
I can understand.
The conversation was when I came into your bedroom and said, like, well, when people touch themselves down there, why does it feel good? Like, is that okay for people to do? And I thought you guys knew that I was like semi-confessing.
Well, your mother seemed to know
Apparently
that.
you didn't. You didn't.
I didn't.
But she understood that.
All right, yeah. So let's. I think we got the scoop
Is
there.
this a one-off? Is this a one-off, or is this part of a pattern? That's what I'm trying to establish.
I
Go
see.
ahead, Chris.
Yeah. So we'll
Okay, so then
add that to
there's
the
two things,
story.
There's 2 things about periods. Number 1, I was at a birthday party with when I was maybe 11. There were a bunch of girls there who were a bit older than me. And they were like, oh, Emily got her period, whatever. And I had no idea what that was. So when but I was like curious. But I asked the girls and they were like, oh, you don't get it or whatever. So I was like, okay. So when I got home, I asked my mom what a period was. And she goes like, don't ask about that. Don't think about that. That's not for you to think about. Like, she was like, not angry at me per se, but like hostile, like concerned. And she was just like, those girls were wrong for bringing that up around you. Don't worry about that. Don't talk about that. That's not for you to think about.
So what do you think of that as the same-sex parental reaction? Like, can you see a pattern here?
Yeah, I mean that sounds like somebody who's not, fielding the softball very well there.
Okay, so there's a kind of hostility to things that there shouldn't be hostility to.
Yeah, so what was the deal? Why was she all worked up about it? Did you ever figure that out?
Well, let's do one more. Okay, so then
when I actually got my first period, it was a very weird experience. Because at that point I had figured out on my own some kind of like American Girl book or whatever, like this is what happens to your body or whatever. So I was like, oh, okay, I know what this is. But I had really no idea how to deal with it. I'm not going to get into too many details, but so I'm like, okay, Mom, this is happening. And I'm in my room at the vacation house and she throws a pad and a tampon in there and she's like, just do it. Just put them on or whatever. And I was like, a tampon? I have no idea how to deal with this. Like, what the fuck? I don't even know which hole it goes in. Like, I don't know. And like
sticking tampons up her ass.
It's like slipping out. I'm like, fuck, I have no idea what it is. I had to figure it out on my own.
Okay. And see, like, I wouldn't even know that to this day. I don't know how tampons work or anything about any of that stuff. I just don't know. So now, in a certain way, what her mother had done is perfectly groomed her to be now I'm in a position of saying, of course I affirm you as a young woman. Like, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how that dynamic could perfectly play into? And she's like so grateful that I'm saying like, no, that's all like crazy. Of course, it's wonderful that you're a young woman with all the things that a young woman has, right?
Well, and then we get into the actual...
But she's deeply sort of inner conflicted about like, is it almost like, is it wrong to to be a female? Like, why was it presented to me throughout my whole life as something that's like horrifying, right? And so she's looking for affirmation. And of course, I'm super happy to give her an affirmation because I'm just like, of course, it's a wonderful thing that you're a young woman. And okay, but they're like, in a certain sense, that's like the perfect setup.
When you talk about the setup and you talk about grooming, then we get to the point where she's telling me and you that she masturbates masturbated thinking about us having sex. Which
Right.
is an indication that this is working for her on some level, in my opinion.
Well, then no, because that's a little bit later. But then you get like the quintessential like working of this out is Grace. She's 16. She's sick of this bullshit. She comes in to the bedroom and is kind of like, "What's up?" Right? And so, am I going to get affirmation here or what? Because I'm an adult now, and I'm kind of like, I don't get it. I've been asked to raise my siblings instead of you, Mom. You guys have said me and your mother are working on something for 4 or 5 hours a day while you're taking care of 5 kids, right? And she's at the age where she's saying like, all right, it's time for me to get paid here or thanked, or you can't just keep like saying, get the fuck out of here, right? She's like, so what's up? What's been going on in here? I'm an adult. You're adults. What's up? Right? So she plops herself, boom, right between us at age 16, right? And I went to her mother and was like, there's something off here. That's too old to be just like next to dad. If she was next to mom, no problem. But like she's next to dad and next to mom. And I'm like, that's too old. This is like kind of crossing a line, right?
I don't get what you
And her
mean.
mother
Plopped
goes-
herself between us. She's like on the bed or something. I'm sorry, I missed
Yeah,
the.
so like, you know, king size beds, plenty of room.
So she
But
laid
it's
in
like,
between you two.
Dad's here, mom's here, and she's just kind of coming in at night and saying like, "Can I watch TV with you guys?" Which of course, fine, but like putting herself like physically right next to me and right next to her mother, right? Which I would think intuitively, if things are healthy, you're going to put yourself on your mother's side, right? And you know, say like, "Mom, you can pat me on the head," but like, mom checked out, and I'm left with her. Okay, and then. You know, so there's a certain amount of tension there. Like, what's up? Like, this is too old to do the mom, dad, like I'm scared of monsters, right? And can I sleep with you guys tonight? It's too old for that, right?
Okay.
This actually looks like a porno, right? This looks like a porno where mom goes to sleep and right. Okay, so I'm aware of that, and her mom goes, "It's nothing." Doesn't talk to Grace about it at all. Says to me, she sees you like a teddy bear. It ain't no thing. And I'm like, okay, I can see that, but like, that's not really answering the question.
What was the question?
What I'm saying is
that if it was
the
inappropriate.
question is like, yeah, is this normal?
For 16-year-old daughter to
This-
want to cuddle with dad?
Yeah. Is this normal? Like, is it, shouldn't she be
Were
on
you
your side?
naked? Were you in your underwear?
Well, yeah, like boxers and t-shirt. I mean, I don't go to bed fully clothed.
Okay.
And I'm just saying, like, what is, what's up here, right?
Grace, were you in your
So-
underwear? Were you in a little
I was
thing
in a
or something?
Skimpy little bralette. No, I was in t-shirt and shorts or whatever.
So you're just everything was normal. It was just there wasn't anything like I'm asking like is
With a
there's
thong underneath.
but there wasn't like some aspect of it that's like sexual, beyond just the close proximity. Like I'm trying to understand what's.
Well,
the
she's
problem.
16 years old. I mean, she's
Okay, so I guess it is weird if that's not a normal thing that was like part of your relationship where like you guys were just always cuddling. She used to just like to snuggle up next to dad. And are you saying that there's just a time when you started feeling that was
There
weird?
was a lot of There was
so-
a long period of alienation where she was like,
Okay, so
actually
then
not even in the house for a while. Then she comes back. She's got her own room.
Oh, and
She's
now
coming
she
in
wants to
night
come.
after night.
Okay,
Yeah.
now I get it. All right, yeah. So if that's like
And
an
her mother doesn't
emerging
say
thing-
go back to your room. And I'm kind of like, and she's kind of like obviously like sort of angry and looking for something, right? And this time instead of saying like, what's masturbation about, she's just kind of just going to stay there until something breaks, right? In other words, so if the mom's conked, right, and I'm lying next to Grace, and she's not going back to her room, and it's 2 or 3 hours of like Law and Order. Okay, like I'm kind of saying like this is getting, where like, yeah, nominally mom's there, but she's literally conked out. So like, what are you doing here in your pajamas, me and my skivvies under the same blanket for a couple of hours? You know what I mean? Laughing and watching TV together. It's like, I'm not stupid, right? This is like at least the intro to a porno, right? To like a daddy-daughter porno.
And it wasn't a very fair position for me to put you in a certain way.
So I'm like, okay, you want some intimacy with dad? No problem. And I do recognize there's all sorts of things going on. She was basically asking, like, as an adult now, is there a role for me here? Because this dynamic I've been woven into from very early age, like literally at age 3, she's taking care of her younger brother. So now it's like, wait. Now it's like, okay, so if I've been a mom and you guys have been like, thank you very much because we were working on something. Now I'm an adult and like, if doesn't a mom get the husband kind of, right? Like, doesn't the mom get to like chill with the dad at the end of the day?
Yeah.
So
why isn't mom laying
kind of a
around giggling and
natural
watching
thing.
Law and Order?
Well, so then there's also like this other dynamic that was going around that time, because I was like, I think there's something else going on here, because like, say the summer before when she was 15, she was wearing clothes that were like, you could say it's hot out, okay, but it was also like a little bit like you're looking for affirmation from me, because like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
was that going on? Is that true, Grace?
I would say I was angry that nobody was recognizing me as a young woman. So I would walk around without a bra and stuff like that, and just say like, is anybody going to notice?
But I remember at one point, again, like, because I don't think her mother was addressing this. I was like, so what's going on with you sexually? Right? Like, are you dating boys? Like, what's going on? I didn't know anything about it. And at one point, she's like, I remember it was driving her on the way to school, and she was saying like, well, I look at blowjob porn. And I was like, oh.
Whoa.
Like,
Whoa.
you really want to suck a dick.
You said that on the way
And
to
it's kind of
school
like,
to your dad.
I remember dropping her off and being like, oh, right. Okay. Like, I really want to suck a cock, and I'm like, okay, that's healthy. And, it's just kind of like, all right.
Okay.
So, okay, but
all right.
You get how it's what I'm saying, you get how it's a setup to troll your kid's sexuality, and then the other parent is totally healthy, and you're going to connect after the trolling kind of like doesn't work. You're going to set them up to connect with each other and get affirmation.
Can
right?
I say it from my point of view?
Not that I needed affirmation, but
who's trolling?
Let me say it from my point of view.
Okay.
Yeah.
On my side, my mom has been extremely cold to me, especially in terms of sexuality. So I've had to figure all of this out by myself. But I want to be a good Christian girl, so I don't do things with boys because I know that would be like hurting myself. But I'm all wound up about it. Like, I'm masturbating and then feeling terrible, right? So like, it's like this just disaster on this hand. This like unaffirmed teenage girl who's like very virile, and yet like totally
not virile. No, that's man.
I don't know what the word is.
Horny.
On the other hand, my mother has a husband in her mind who I think you would say at that point your sex life had been like utterly destroyed, dead bedroom, right?
Yeah, it never really amounted to much, but
okay.
And
so
I openly said to you, before any of this, I openly said to you, like, let's, like, you can help me with the businesses. Your mother just doesn't seem to be able to, like, stop causing problems. So I openly basically said, let's be partners in the sense, like, you can be an adult and help me with all this stuff. We got plenty of money coming in. We'll run the Airbnb together. I don't know this. Your mother's just
Right.
crazy, and I don't even care.
And she was aware that that was your opinion. So she's not dealing with either side of this. She's not dealing with it.
But I
And on
didn't
the one
say or
hand,
think
she's telling
anything
me-
sexual.
Well, on the one hand, she's telling me, like, your father's crazy. I need to help him. These 4 or 5 hour sessions we have upstairs in our bedroom I'm like doing him a favor. He's manic.
But they never
bipolar,
ended.
whatever.
They never ended.
On the other hand, she's telling my dad, Grace is a brat, which I had no idea she was telling him. Like, Grace is, like, selfish, and she doesn't care about this family, and she just wants to go hang out with her friends and spend money, which, like, is ridiculous.
And meanwhile, you're in your room, and I think you recently told me this. You're literally watching daddy-daughter incest porn.
As
right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like
right.
Okay, so
family strokes.
Right, so I
was
mean,
the place to be. So what I'm saying, Big Tech, is if you have the mother has both of these sides. She's lying to each side about each other. They connect. They realize that she's been lying about both of them to each other, right?
Yeah.
And also that they've both been, I would say, you can disagree, but abused by her. And then she starts...
But me less so. I would just say it was a no-go. It wasn't really like... It was just like a no-go.
Then she starts accusing them of having sexual improprieties, but also to the fantasy of them having sexual...
No, the fantasy thing was first. So you're looking at daddy-daughter porn. She's masturbating, fantasizing about me penetrating you. That's what she said.
That's what she said, yeah.
And then screaming at God or the devil about it. Okay, meanwhile, I'm like, okay, let's talk in the library and make a list of things to do. Okay. But like, right? But I'm like, okay. But eventually I said, this has nothing to do with me. This has to do with you two. Right? And so it's either the brat kid model or it's the cuck queen model. I'm not actually invested. Right? I'm saying, because here's the thing with the creepy dad part.
I'll be right back.
If I saw this stuff and I wanted to predate, wouldn't I keep the mom out of it 100% and just enjoy, like, I finally got this? Like, she, in a sense, handed me Grace's pussy, like, on a platter, right? And so why wouldn't I take it? Why would I say, like, well, I don't know what's going on here, right? I mean, you could say, I made her look at daddy-daughter porn, but, like, really, you'd have to say it was her mom.
I think I've heard enough. I can make the diagnosis now if you want. All right, so Cortney, you know, she's like, she hasn't been able to connect with a man, father issue, whatever the thing is. She finds big bear Ben. She's approaching the wall. She's late 20s.
Yep.
She meets a guy.
Got to finish partying. Got to finish with the partying. Need to land a man.
She sees him as like a potential father figure, not only for her children, but for herself, to fill the role that her father didn't fill, because he's
100%
theologian type guy. Whether she thinks it or subconsciously sort of like, you know, acts this out, it's like, well, if I have his baby, maybe he'll love me.
Exactly, yeah.
If I have his baby, he'll love me.
Or he's locked in, at least. He's locked in.
And locked into what, though? She doesn't want to lock you into nurturing and caring for and paying for a child. She doesn't even want a child. She wants to be loved. If I have his child, maybe he'll care about me. And then she gets into the relationship with you. The child is oncoming. She's going through the pregnancy. And she's maybe not feeling like, she's like, oh, and then maybe it starts setting in on her like, oh, this guy doesn't actually care about me. Like, even though I'm pregnant with his child. And then it's getting further and further. And people asking, like, who's the dad of this baby? Like, what are you doing? And she's just like, oh, fuck. It's him, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. And you're kind of like, what are you doing? And she was, maybe she was rolling the dice on what you're gonna do is like show up as this savior and save her from save her from her loneliness, really, though. Not just save her from the pregnancy, but save her from her misery. Save her from her lonely, destitute life of meaninglessness, because she has no man. Nobody cares about her. Nobody desires her. Nobody looks after her and thinks about her.
The sexual market value is waning.
Yeah. And she's like, well, this is my last chance. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But then she, embarks on the thing, and then it's like, then she finds out that you're kind of like, well, I wanted to keep my job, so I might as well put a ring on it. And whatever. Here we are. I don't care. Like you're kind of like that guy. You're kind of like, oh, it's a baby. Oh, whatever. I've seen a million babies. Oh yeah, I'm married. Well, everybody gets married. Fuck it. Like, yeah, you're my wife now. And
I guess you got to settle at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you got to settle. And she's like, I'm the I guess you got to settle bride. And now she's crushed.
Absolutely.
And all of her like potential dreams of what this could become, they all go skadoosh on the, they crash on the rocks. And now she's like spiraling all the way up through the pregnancy and then the birth. And then the baby has a heart defect. And now she's feeling like shit. And she's married to a guy who's settled with her and doesn't give a shit about her. And now she's looking at this fucking baby that just looks just like you. And she's like, this little fucking twat bitch that I gotta raise now who was biting my tits. But all I'm saying is it's understandable. It doesn't make her like a crazy psycho bitch. It just means that she's dealing with something that's totally normal, and it's like that. All I'm saying is like but she's, finding her way of coping with it, which sometimes can be self-destructive and all of that. But what she's coping with is an unfulfilled desire that's a normal desire.
Okay, but when you say crazy, all crazy has a certain understandability. Like there's no one who just, let's just say, kills someone for no reason, right? There's always a pattern which is understandable. Like Jeff Dahmer.
Yeah.
Jeff Dahmer was like, I want to love someone, right? And I just can't deal with all their needs. So I'm going to like create a zombie that I can love, right? But what they're not, Jeff Dahmer won't recognize is you're fucking angry too. Yeah. Because all of us might say like, yeah, I really want to love someone who doesn't like have all these problems, but none of us are like, yeah, what I need to do first is hit him with a 2x4. You can't sort of just skip over that. You know what I'm saying? So
look, the thing,
just because something's understandable doesn't mean it's not crazy in the sense of being like wrong.
Yeah, totally.
They had Kemper story. His mother's annoying, but she works at a school, so he kills a bunch of women at the school and as a way of getting back at her, and eventually kills her, chops her head off, and ejaculates down her throat. Okay, but the question is like, hey Ed, when you were 18, why didn't you just move out? These people who kill someone and they go, okay, I understand that's wrong. Well, they could just fucking drive to a police station and go, I just did this, right? But they never do because they're like, I'm going to work it out myself.
Yeah.
Right? And they're wrong to do that. At the point at which you like have blood on your hands, it's time for you to say, society needs to help here, right? And I think we would all say, okay, we can somewhat forgive the murder if you at least turned yourself in, but they never do, right?
No, did you ever feel that the fetish that you had was wrong?
What's a masturbation fetish?
I don't know. You said you were like fucking vases and hot dogs and stuff. Like,
oh, when I was a kid?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I thought that was wrong.
So why didn't you turn yourself in?
To the jerk off cops?
Yeah. I like, do a cry for help. Or I guess what I'm pointing at is like I can see in a way like a parallel because what you just brought up about why doesn't the guy just go turn himself in for being a serial murderer? He might be thinking, you know what, this is just something a guy works out himself.
You're saying, and I think I agree with you on this, the pattern was set before I was involved or Grace was involved or the siblings were involved. And it's not really personal to us. We just fit into a pattern. So I think the family structure here is that actually like Grace, instead of becoming like a helper to her mother, became the actual mother, and her mother just dipped out. And instead of becoming like a secondary spouse, she asked her mother, what are you doing here at all? Why isn't it me and dad? And then in our case, we did become the competent mother and father or male and female. And they even started calling Grace mom at a certain point when her mother dipped. And so her mother has not been able to figure out where she belongs in this family. And I think the answer is you don't any longer. Also in the case of Grace as a mother, she's kind of saying like, I'll take care of the kids. You're not like right now she's saying like, I'll go over there and take care of them. Get the fuck out of here. why wouldn't she take us up on that offer and say, yeah, okay, I don't want to do either of these things. She clearly hates being a mother and is totally incapable of being a spouse. Grace is able to fill in and willing to fill in. So at that point of saying like, no, I'm going to cause your life to be
what do you
as,
think it is? You're asking it
possible.
rhetorically. What do you think the reason is? I don't get it. Sounds like you've thought plenty about it. You have no idea
insanity
why?
or evil. Yeah,
insanity or evil.
I can give you an example that, well, I don't know if I can give this example legally, but like she wanted to do something with me where I'm saying you're abusing the kids. She's saying I am abusing the kids and I can't seem to stop. And she's like, okay, well, I need to have a sexual connection with you to not abuse the kids. So I said, okay, let's, you can do this thing, like, but I can't deal with you. So I was like, okay, we set up a glory hole kind of thing. And I was like, okay, you can do this if you can take care of the kids. And she's like, okay, let's try it. So we tried it. And lo and behold, it didn't work. And she was like, and I put myself through it on my side. I was like, okay, if you say you need to have this kind of sexual connection with me, but then you're going to stop abusing the kids, right? Now, at the point at which I said yes to that.
Wait a minute. So you were like withholding sex from your wife so much that she was like going crazy and hurting the kids?
No, we were, I wasn't withholding anything.
Well, she said she needed a sexual connection with you, and you were like,
right,
no.
It had. No, she's the one who stopped that. She's like,
well, what does she mean? I need a sexual connection with you, but I'm not going to have sex with you. That doesn't make sense.
Well, she's going to have a type of sex that like is her type of sex, right? This is going to. I mean, this is where you get into like sort of tweaking.
When was it that she was saying that she was having this trouble abusing the kids? Before that or after that?
Entire time from about 2018 until now, there's been this kind of like, I'm having a mental breakdown. That's now 7 years. 7 years of total inaccessibility.
And what would she say the reason is? Do you ever ask her, like, what's the reason?
Abuse.
And what is she referring to?
I have no idea.
Why not?
Well, you know what her story is. You know what her story is.
Violence, abuse from me. That's all I've ever heard. And I've always said, what's the abuse?
I'm still trying to understand what she's calling abuse. And if you say, I don't know, that makes me think that you were like incurious to discover what she meant.
Well, I mean, she would say, I'm abusing you right now. I am an abusive person.
Yeah.
Okay, so but if that abusive person says, please, do everything you can to get away from me. Love it. I love it. Then it can't, and that person says like, no, I don't want to do that.
Because she needs you.
What does she need me for?
You're the father of her children.
What does she need me for? My children need me, but what does she need me for?
She's your putative wife that you married after impregnating her.
I didn't marry her, and I've made it super clear. And
did you go to a wedding and put a ring on her finger?
Okay, but everyone would recognize you can go through the motions and there's something missing.
You're the only person I've ever heard of in the world who says anything like that.
No, that's not true. The Pope in Rome would say that in 2 seconds. I had a priest who looked into it, talked with her at great length, and he's like, yeah, no, not even close.
So you went down the road, you built a family together, you impregnated her, you went through the ceremony, you called yourself her husband, at least at a time.
Yeah.
So she needs you now. And so
but
she's
if someone
saying
says
to you,
this relationship,
and you're saying, well, and you're saying like, well, if it hurts you, just drop out of the relationship. And she's saying, but I need it because I'm the mother to these kids and you're the father. I wonder if you can connect with this because I think it's like you're rational, and you probably have.
I think so.
You know, assuming that you have the regular amount of human understanding and maybe what we call empathy and sympathy, you might be able to imagine a person like if you weren't you were her instead. And you're in this spot where you've got 6 children. And you maybe also have all sorts of chaos going on within you that even clogs or clouds your vision of things and makes it not easy for you to think up a great solution to the problem. What you might end up doing is sort of just crying out to someone about the problem, but not knowing how to fix it, but hoping that it gets fixed. And that's not actually crazy. And so if she's telling you...
Who's being cried out to here? Me?
Well, if she's telling you the problem is you're abusive, that might be her way of basically trying to articulate a problem that she would like to be solved so that things get better.
But I'm saying, like, I don't care if you think I'm abusive or whatever. Like, I have no interest here. So,
but the thing is, in her world,
I never will.
And in the normal world, like the normal, common, normative perspective of marriage, is that you made a promise to care about that.
But I mean, like, she also knows I'm Catholic, so if I can like point
weasel out of the promise, I'll do it. If I can get a priest to tell me it's okay to break the promise.
No, if I can, and I was happy to go through it with her, but she never would go through it. I said, like, okay, so we should be able to examine these vows if there was something missing. And she was free to go to a priest to argue on the other side.
But that's not the solution. But she's not asking you to examine the vows. She's asking you to uphold the vows. And you're saying, no, but I think I can get out of these vows. Let's look at it. I'm allowed out, right?
Vows if someone was incapable of making them.
But if my mother was
irrational to ask someone to uphold vows that they weren't able to make.
I believe that my mother was accusing him of being abusive in the sense that he has a psychological disorder. And so if that's true, it would be equally as valid on her side to say, I think this marriage should be annulled because you did not have the maturity to enter into a marriage.
Why don't you just say, this is over? We're going to make a plan. This is over.
I did.
Well, then what are we doing?
I don't know. I've been attacked brutally since then.
By who?
I can't. Well, the person who she didn't take the off ramp. She instead said, no, we're going to, like.
What's the attack?
She went to the cops. Right?
About
so she
what?
Went to the cops and legal system.
About a divorce?
Abuse.
Oh, about abuse.
She straight up lied, referencing a night where she and him and I had a conversation, and she lied and said during the conversation that he beat her and punched her in the face and torso, which is just a flat out lie.
Look, if I was a woman, especially a mother of 6 kids, I would be thinking about it like this. I need this guy to either change so that we can keep getting along, keep the family intact, so that he can keep taking care of me and providing for me and the kids. Or I need to find a way to divorce this guy and get everything I can from him so that I can take care of me and the kids. That's how a mother's going to be thinking. I need this guy.
That's how a horrible female thinks. But wouldn't a positive mother say, like, it would be best for my kids that they have a good relationship with their father and me? And isn't he going to be generous towards them and me if I maintain friendly relations with him?
But if you don't already have friendly relationships and you guys basically hate each other.
That wasn't the case. I can show you like texts from 2023. I just happened to see them because they were on like my Discord with Grace. And it was like, I was like, okay, I think this is great. I think we can get through this. You can be a great mother to your kids. You can stay on YouTube. Everyone loves Crazy Cortney. And she's like, yeah, I can be Crazy Cortney. And people really like you and we can be friends and you can live here. And, there's another off ramp, right? Like you can even live here. I'm not saying we got to separate. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to try that. And I was like, okay. And it just immediately tanked. So,
well, those stories, I'll take your word for it. Those stories about the finger sniffing and the anger about the period question and things like this, these are like really, really odd. And I'm sure there's a ton more like that, right? I bet there's like a whole shoebox full of those where that came from, along the road. Yep. And so that sounds bizarre.
There were sexual issues, and then what came out like somewhere in this is like that she said every time I try to experience sexual pleasure, what I do is imagine myself as a man with a penis, and I was like, ooh, I didn't know that. Like that's a big problem. And so this is like almost like, I'm not saying it's transgenderism, but like if you have to fantasize about having a penis when you're a woman to experience sexual pleasure, like no shade, right? But like I should have known about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
There was a ring on my finger. You know what I mean? And the second part of the
that kind of like all of a sudden I felt myself starting to have more sympathy for you than I've ever had before, Ben. Like you're a weird cat, right? And I'm starting to go like, I get it.
That's a kind of weird issue, right? And you get this thing with like the penis thing of like the sexual experiences always being like oriented towards me, never like she's not participating, right? Because it's kind of this penis obsession, which you could see as it's like a basic daddy issue. Like I kind of want to have a penis. I wish I had a penis. I'm fascinated by penises. And it's like, well, how many years can a guy endure this?
Damn, dude. So you're over here dealing with a house full of, you got like one woman who's got to imagine she's got a dick in order to get off. And your daughter's over here flicking her bean and looking at hardcore pornography. And you got, dude, how are you even still alive, bro?
Right. So I actually was like near dead.
That's the victim. I decided, all right, we're going to let's take a look at this chart up here again. Saying, you know what? Grace, you're right. There's no category where Ben is in the victim category. Creepy dad, brat kid, cut queen, or poor bastard. This poor bastard married this woman who baby trapped him. She's got sexual dysfunction. She's like covertly abusive to the kids. She's got like all these behavioral issues out the ass, and she's never going to be satisfied. She's just all over the place. He's like, he's creating a family with her, and in time it's coming to light like, oh my God, I'm dealing with somebody who's just like out of her mind. And
so it'd be Ben,
but it's being hidden from me. It's being hidden from me.
Yeah, and you're discovering it along the line. You're not guaranteed to have crazy radar built in to where you're able to detect it. And by the time you start figuring it out, you've got houses, you've got a restaurant, who knows what, you got 6 kids, you got the life that you're living, and now you're like, oh my God, my daughter's coming into teenage adulthood, and I guess she's dealing. This is going on. Oh my God, she's been getting her fingers sniffed, and who never what.
Well, that was much earlier. But I don't see myself as a victim. I'm just saying, even at this late stage, I would say, look, get out of Grace's pussy, right? She's 22 years old. Whatever she does, leave her the fuck alone, right? I don't really think it's any of her mother's business or my business.
Yeah, I wouldn't call you a victim, but I mean, like, talk
it.
about having your hands full. I mean, it's like there's a level beyond, like, oh, I really got my hands full with this family. You have, like, a monkey on your back situation.
Yeah, and
you're carrying this thing, like, and you're not the only man in the world, but sometimes you end up with a woman who's just, for whatever reason, like, who could handle that? Ben, you are you just got done telling us about how sexual you've been since early ages. Yeah. And then you ended up in this, like, hellish, sexless marriage. If you're not a victim, then what do you call it? I mean, like, you're the unfortunate recipient of, like, a terrible circumstances. Like, okay, if that's not a victim, fine. But I mean, like, if somebody's
the sex was lousy, to go from lousy sex to no sex is better, honestly. These 4-hour sessions were like the beginning of a blowjob, then like this, like, kind of like problem to like a little more to. I mean, it was like 4 hours. Can you imagine, like, what that does to your, like, sense of sex? Should take about 5 to 7 minutes, I think, and it should normally
maximum.
For married people. And it's like at a certain point, you're like, just cut it off. And I literally said to her, cut it off. Let's just cut it off. But then in her imagination, she's like, okay, well, now Grace is in this realm with him. She's doing the same thing I'm doing, and I need to stop this. And that goes on till this day. And it's like, bitch, please worry about yourself. I'm good. Grace is good.
Do you know how I know that that's true? Because I can say this. In my mom's latest affidavit for the restraining order, which was like an extension affidavit
a couple months ago,
she wrote that my dad is currently sexually abusing me. Although she hasn't spoken to me for over a year. She has no idea whether that's true or not. But she'll just write it in there.
And she's saying the reason I can't talk to my daughter, although I legally can, but like she's very hard, is because she's protecting my daughter's sexuality from being also having this done to her. The latest sort of drop, which was said a long time ago, is that at a certain point your mother engaged in like lesbian behavior towards you, lesbian sexual activity towards you. And the question is why? Or, what's that all about? As a kind of like, maybe this will work, maybe this will fix things.
I don't know what that is. I'm afraid to honestly, I don't need the details, but it's
not like super hardcore, but it's like again, a part of a.
I feel like I want to say like
someone who engages in that is immature. Shouldn't be in charge of kids, right? It's just not something you do as an experiment to see if like this will like kind of scratch a certain itch that will help you to not be so angry. It's crazy. Can you imagine like if I had said like, okay, I'm going to suck my son's cock to see if maybe that's going to like, it was crazy. You're DQ'd. Bye-bye.
Yeah. No, it's over.
Bye-bye. Like it's over. Whatever.
I've been watching you guys for
is,
long enough. You know, I've seen you around. We've known each other for a couple of years. I've seen the way you guys behave and what you go through, and I've never had this perspective that I just like literally reached 5 or 8 minutes ago or something where all of a sudden I'm having like tremendous compassion for you. And I'm like feeling like so much of what I've seen from you guys in a different light. Like it's weird. And I'm not saying like everything is cool, but it's just like, it makes so much more sense. Like I can't imagine what it would feel like to go through what you've gone through, for like what it would be like to be Ben and to have that experience, to be carrying that load, and for to be Grace too. Like even your actions too, like, you know, what we would call maybe, I might have labeled it as codependent or some sort of like, what would you call Stockholm or something like that. But now, like, if I was you, I might be looking at my dad as like, if I was up close and personal to seeing how it was for him to be with my mom and what he went through, I might feel like, you know what, somebody's got to fucking look out for this guy because he's been through a lot. Like somebody's got to be there to give this guy something because, and I don't mean sexual. I don't mean sexual, but I mean
reach around. Come
on.
But
I mean the poor guy.
But I mean, yeah, and so it's fucking tragic. I mean, we don't have to call you victim, but like you've endured a tragedy. This is like fucking crazy.
No, but it's very beautiful. I do appreciate you saying that, and I do think I was trying to make the case to Grace that yes, if people could see it like just the microcosm, they could just like the Israel-Palestine thing, you could say, right? But like when you take a global perspective, it's super clear like what's going on here. There was a proposition made at a certain point that Grace fill in
Dad,
for a
be
while.
careful. Dad, be careful just because of the gag order thing.
Well, that's true though.
It is true, yeah.
Fill in for a while until she could kind of like figure this stuff out, and then she'll come back in.
You're old enough.
What
to give
the
a
actual
job.
fuck?
Why don't you just take over for a minute?
What the actual fuck? Like what?
No way.
No,
that
legit.
happened.
Legit. Yes.
The thing is, in the bedroom, right? The mother falling asleep is saying, "I'm not dealing with this." And when I said to her, like, "So what's up with Grace?" The answer was, "I don't want to talk about it." And I was like, "What?" And it was like, "Oh, I don't think it's a big deal." And I was like, "I think it's a big deal." She's like, and then literally it was this like falling asleep and leaving us. And then, do you see what I mean? Like, it's just a way of saying like, I don't want to deal with this. But then it comes out later, she's fantasizing about it. And it's like, whoa.
You know what I appreciate?
But there was never wait, can I just say there was never once a conversation where Grace like got a knock on her door and she's like, hey, I want to talk about like your relationship with your dad. And like, what's up with that? Not once, right? And I also was like, what's up with us? And she didn't make a defense of saying like, I think we have this bond. I think we've made these vows, whatever. She's just like, whatever, I'm out. And she literally said like, I don't know what's going on with you and Grace, but like, I'm out, right? Now, like I'm out sexually. So again, like, how is that?
No, she's lost in
right?
a twisted up inner world. Sexually, and she's like you said, these types of fantasies that she's having are really coming from a weird spot, and she doesn't know how to feel about it. She probably feels guilty for it. She feels all twisted about feeling twisted up, and then she's like, and you don't know what's going on until it starts unraveling. You know, starts revealing itself over time, and then you're sort of like, whoa.
And then you get this proposition where it's like, okay, I think this could work. So I'm not saying I'm there, but I'll get there. But in the meantime, I get that you have needs. And it's like, what the fuck are we talking about? Are you seriously? Like, bye-bye. Yeah. Bye-bye now.
Yeah.
Right? Bye-bye. Time to go bye-bye.
There's a chatter who says, you guys are twisted liars and you'll suffer for your lives. You're already miserable and you deserve it. So really the only the response to this is, well, you're lying. But I know it's the truth. So as long as I know it's the truth, it's okay if you call it a lie or whatever. I know it's true. But what I'm saying is I really appreciate somebody just taking it at face value and saying, okay, well, if this is true, then I'm sympathetic. I get it.
Yeah, the only way to not feel like fucking horrible.
Courtney,
the only way to hear the story and not like have my heart broken for you is to just assume you're full of shit. But if I take it, like you said, at face value, of like if this actually did happen to you, this is like devastating. This is fucking crazy.
But let me but can you also imagine how beautiful of a relationship Grace and I would have for having navigated all of this together?
That's part of what I'm seeing too. I'm seeing that too.
You know, so I'm saying like
honestly, it's
we're friends.
Like I'm sitting like Grace. I mean, like I'm not trying to glaze. I'm like, Grace, you your daughter's sitting here looking like a movie star or something on camera.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of seeing it's like, so you've gone through this thing that's, I mean, I don't know what man could go through that without having a part of him ripped out. But in an odd compensation, you have this beautiful daughter who you love, who loves you back, and in the crazy life that you guys are living, she's trying to take care of you. And it's kind of like amazing. Yeah.
And the way I see it in a weird way, like kind of mystically, is like, yes, her mother was put into my life to get her put into my life and her siblings. And I want to rescue them all from this person. You know what I mean? So it was like, I remember praying before I met her mother, like, I just want to have a friend, you know, because I don't make friends easily. I'm sure if you noticed that. Because I'm a ball buster, right? But like,
yeah.
And I thought she was the answer to that prayer, but like in a sense she was, because through her, Grace came into my life, and I couldn't be happier. So in no way would I say any of this stuff makes me a victim. Because in a certain, like, but if I had to go through it myself, I would be dead a million times over. You know what I mean? But like having gone through it with her is like an incredibly beautiful. I don't think many people have that experience. Like, especially at my age, I was nearly dead, and now I love life. You know what I mean? I had literally on a daily basis for years the symptoms of bipolar 2. I was either depressed or I was manic. And I haven't had one day of those experiences since, you know, kind of like things shifted and Grace came into my life. So she saved my life, honestly, because I don't know if you know what it's like to have those kind of symptoms. It feels like you never experience any peace.
I've seen you have some ups and downs, but it's better to be really upset or really happy or whatever than to just be like empty. To have nothing, to like feel like their life has been drained out of you.
No. I mean, if you had ever talked to me when I was like manic, it's a different world. I'm talking a mile a minute.
Oh,
like, you know what I mean? And I'm sleeping like 1 or 2 hours a night.
When was that?
And then the crash is like, and Grace can attest to this because she was old enough to remember. The crash, it was almost exactly 3 months. The crash was like, I just didn't want to do anything. I was just toast, you know? And so
was that was the bad part? Like I've never been through that. So is that the bad part or the manic part? Or is it both?
They're both
I don't know
bad.
Which is worse.
They're both bad.
But like, can you imagine never being able to sleep for more than an hour or an hour and a half? Because what you're doing is you're trying to find a solution to a problem, but you can't solve it. And so you're like saying like, okay, I got to do everything. I gotta not let this crash happen. But you know it's coming because somehow you're just not fixing it, right? And then when Grace came in, I genuinely, I think I just said like, oh, the problem is this marital situation, this family situation, right? And I just couldn't. And then what's ironic, because you say I know that you're just kidding, but like I took the vows lightly. The problem is I took the vows too hard, and I couldn't even say, well, look, if I'm gonna die for these vows, they can't be healthy. It'd be better to break them than to sit here and be a zombie for the rest of my life, right? Like, so it was really hard to break through and say like, oh, no. You're not bound by something that's killing you. Something's wrong here. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, but what a beautiful what I'm saying is like the rewards are incredibly beautiful as well.
Hmm.
And I have to say, having lived
far
through that,
outweigh the pain and suffering.
having lived through that, he does not show those symptoms anymore, and they got less and less as we got further out of that unhealthy situation. Like people say, oh, he's manic. He does get excited. It's very Norwegian. I have to tell you my idea, but it's not like the mania. Like I know what the mania was like, and the depression.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
It's a whole different beast.
Yeah. So I think, but I do think the one piece that remains is for Grace, with my help, to just clarify this, and if it needs to go legal, it needs to go legal. You know, there needs to be like some pushback, and then we can move on. But for her to be like experiencing the reputation destruction, the financial attacks, and most of all, the separation from her siblings, it's just wrong. But like, I still think to this day, if we had all three, she could have been one of these, you know, like Thorposphere people, right? And she had a certain following, people still to this day. And John even came on and people liked him in his own special way. And I would have said, like, the whole family can do it if they want to. But then they decided that they were victims of it. And, you know, I don't know. Big Tech, I really have to say, and people will call this love bombing, but I really don't think you could possibly imagine how valuable this is. Literally, like for the last three, what'll happen with Grace is she'll see, here's the thing when you have an experience, and I'm not saying it's the end of the world, but when it's all you've ever experienced, I'm saying it's from breastfeeding till now is this hostility.
Yeah.
And I say, listen, sweetheart, you're going to need to like confront this or it's going to be dogging you the rest of your life. And she wants to say, look, Daddy, can we just, you and me, do stuff? You know what I mean? And just leave that behind us. And it eats away every day. And you see it. Because like, where's her relationship with her sisters? You know, like her sister with her brothers, like all this stuff that she can't help but like kind of resent. Like, why am I having to go stream to pay child support to this woman, right? Like, I'm their mom. I effectively was their mom. I never got even fucking thanked for being their mom.
Yeah.
I was willing to be their mom when she was incompetent. And now I got to fucking pay money so she can have them in a kind of like personal Auschwitz because she hates us. Fuck you, bitch. Right. And I'm like, yes, say it. And I do want to say this on my behalf, Big Tech. Grace was like, I don't know about Big Tech. And I was like, no, Big Tech is the right person to do this. And like, I'm telling you, you're like an uncle figure, right? And sometimes if it's like, you know, she'll just stare at me with the stare like, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, you got to do this. Better to get the shit. Take the shit, you know? And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? But like, take the shit, shoot your shot. The normal means, the justice system we know is like not perfect, but like, you got to get this out of your system to move on, right? Because she's not giving up. So you've got to say, shut the fuck up, bitch. Right? Or like if you're not, you've been put in this situation, you know, and your thing of like sympathize with people. Like, I don't know, like you sympathize with like criminals.
Yeah.
Okay. But do you feel bad for like Jeff Dahmer?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Like, I think it's probably horrible to be a crazy maniac.
Yeah, I agree with you on that sense. Yeah, in the sense that there's a humanity still there.
Yeah, that poor son of a bitch. Like, he's all fucked
like,
up.
Don't you also feel like just like indignant at like this person's refusal to just turn themselves in? Like, I don't feel much sympathy for BTK. I think, you know, it's just like what wouldn't you be sympathetic with if you're sympathetic with BTK? You know what he fucking did to these people? Do you know what he fucking did to these people?
Actually, what's BTK?
BTK was Wichita, right? And he's one of the ones like so he felt like society didn't give him respect. He wanted to be a cop, but like no one hired him because he's, you know, off, right? But he had a wife, he had kids. Okay, and like, you know, his way of taking it out on society was like attacking women usually, and then BTK is bind, torture, kill. So he would slowly kill them, then let them go until right. And one family in particular, called the Oteros, right? So it's like this like wonderful Hispanic family. I think they were father, mother, 3 kids. And so he wants to catch the woman or something like that, but he ends up, the dad's there too. He makes them watch the other people in the family get slowly murdered, right?
Jesus.
Then at the end of it, the kids are left. First, he has the kid. No, I think he first put the kids in another room, takes care of the mom, has the mom in front of the dad, and she's begging for her life and saying, I forgive you. Please don't do this, right? Offs the mom in front of the dad and the dad in front of the mom, whatever, right? Then takes the daughter downstairs, hangs her by her neck from a rafter slowly while he's ejaculating on her, 11-year-old girl, and then and then has this, like the little kid watching it and then offs the little kid, something like that, right? I mean, that you could say, oh, must have been a tough place for him to be in. What the fuck are you talking about? Who gives a fuck about him? How could you actually care about him? How? I'm not saying it's equivalent.
Well, I don't care. I don't care about.
At some point, you just say like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't care about like
11-year-old girl
preserving
hang
him or
her
anything.
by her neck from a rafter and get off on it. Like, what the fuck, dude? What does someone have to do to just be like unworthy of sympathy? You know, and I'm sure he had reasons. I didn't get a lot of respect.
No,
I didn't get a lot of respect. Like, who fucking cares, dude?
Well, to me,
Also,
sympathy and
no.
justice are not they're not related. Like, I can have total sympathy for a person, feel bad for how it must be to be them, maybe empathize even with what they're gone through, and also still like put them in the noose and pull the lever.
You know what? You know what's an interesting thing about Christianity, and I don't think a lot of
Because
people
they got to
recognize
go.
this. Christianity is a winner religion. It's not for losers. Losers do not deserve anything but to keep losing. And so, I don't know. I mean, I just have zero sympathy for losers who want to cry about losing. Stop losing or shut your fucking mouth. And I understand that there's like lessons you can learn from Dahmer. But like, he's a total fucking loser. I mean, he's a total fucking loser. To say like, I don't know how to love people. Thereafter, I need to take a fucking baseball bat to their head to slow them down. I got zero sympathy for that, bro. Take a baseball bat to your own head. Like, to quote the Rolling Stones, you have sympathy for the devil who threw away everything just to spend his eternity rebelling.
Don't you have sympathy for people who are going to hell? Aren't they destined to eternal separation for God and torment? Doesn't that
by their
suck
own
for them?
choice? By their own choice.
We're getting into a little bit of predeterminism here, or fatalism, because Big Tech is saying, well, some people are blessed with being winners, some people are cursed with being losers, and you can't avoid it or change it, right? So wouldn't you say BTK was cursed with failure so that he would inevitably kill people?
There's something about the cocktail of genetics and neurology and history and events in his life and influences, whatever led up to that poor bastard being that big fucking mess that he was.
But don't you think there's also free choice?
No, I don't actually believe in that.
Oh, well, okay.
The way I see the free will concept, it's actually a way of transferring blame off of God for what happens in his creation onto the creatures. So God created everything the way that it is, and then the creatures get punished for how it is.
Mm-hmm. And you're really mad at God?
No, I'm not mad at anybody. I'm not mad at anybody. That just doesn't make any sense. You love being angry. You're an anger addict. You kind of love it. You seem to love it. Like you're like, it's useful. You can use it, and it makes you a winner. And I'm like, you love to sit around and like go on and on about this fucking thing that's driving you fucking mad because you hate it, and you talk through it long time, and you go and go and go and go, and you are fueled by rage. but it's like a slow
rage.
burning. But you're not like you're not screaming usually. But what you're doing is you're expressing with a very like unhappy face, and it's sort of like masked with this calm demeanor, and just like you're rationalizing through this thing that's irking the fuck out of you, and you're gonna let everybody know it until they're losing their minds too. And Grace is going, and it's like everybody's like really unhappy now because you've shared your unhappiness with everybody. And I've seen that happen.
I think sometimes there are things that go on, and you're just like, I've got to get to the bottom of this at any cost, because it's like,
and that's the thing that I learned some time ago. I'm not perfect at it, and the thing that Jesse's talking about all the time is that at the bottom of it, it's actually in here. It's not out there.
It's usually a kind of confusion. The problem with people is like,
but the thing is, you want to talk it through with people and find out who's at fault and see if you can get Grace to behave different, and we could get the live stream fired up right. And Grace, can't you get the fucking thing right? And I told you, why didn't you write it down? And it's not out there, Ben. It's in here. It's in you.
Well, I think we're relational people, so I don't think, I know that you're saying like, well, if you do that, you could end up saying like, I need to be by myself because I'm out of control. I haven't found that to be the case.
No, it's not that you need to be by yourself. It's that there's forgiveness.
Yeah, I know, but that's kind of like a weed smoking kind of answer to everything. Forgiveness. It's like, yeah, sometimes if someone asks forgiveness, I think I'm very forgiving. If someone is attacking me, I don't think the answer is forgiveness. I think the answer is defending yourself.
Well, you can defend without being angry. There's no need for anger.
Well, it sure helps.
Okay, but
I don't understand the anger-phobia.
But it also hurts, though. But it hurts.
Who does it hurt?
You and everybody around you.
I don't find that it hurts me to get angry. When I used to teach, I originally was like kind of like, you know, even
it does though.
Person.
I've seen it.
I had to get angry,
and I've seen it hurt Grace, and I've seen it hurt John, and I've seen it hurt Cortney, and I've seen it hurt the other kids, and I've seen it hurt people in your stream, and I've seen it hurt other streamers. I've seen it hurt everybody, and that's the thing. It's like people are upset at you. A lot of times, it's not because you're tall and handsome and cool, and they resent you for being so based.
That's most of the problem.
It could be some of that. But also, they see you projecting your anger on people, and then they want to send it back at you. I think. But that
I will tell you this: like, I enjoy when I had the authority, which I didn't really want to have in a school. I enjoyed inflicting pain on kids who were assholes in class, and I enjoyed them writhing in pain in the detention afterwards. Yeah, I loved it, and I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah, you don't see it. I think you could serve Grace a lot on this. I think you would help her a lot if you could just chill out. And I think that if you could diffuse your feelings about the whole situation to where it was bugging you less, and you could like lead her into peace about it all, and but actually, like, and I don't mean like tell her to be peaceful, but it's like, hey, I was right there with you. You were right there with me. We both went through it. I'm chill. I've let it go, and not in a fake way, but like Dad processes through it, and she sees and feels you do that. Then maybe she'll be able to do it too.
Yeah, but okay, but I think that I have done that. I've been like, if we're gonna leave that behind, let's leave it behind. And she's still saying
trying to move on. That is
I can't do that. And I'm like, I get it.
Career. Okay, let's focus on my streaming. Okay, let's focus on getting our housing situation. Anything other than this, you can't deal with it. And
I think she's right. I think she's right to say like, no, we can't just move beyond this. Like, you can't forgive someone who's actively attacking you. I think she's right to say like, nah, we ain't going down like that. Paying child support for abuse. Nah, we're not doing that. So I think she's right. But I think probably
I don't think so. I'm gonna keep disagreeing. I got it. I mean, Jesse is right. Like, JLP is correct. It's literally forgiveness.
Crazy about no.
Forgiveness and dropping your anger is the thing. Like, your anger is a plague in your mind that you haven't it's a storm that you're keeping going, and you could literally just like, if you want to talk about free will, if you have anger, that is driving you towards something that you're not in control of your choices now. Like it's pushing you toward a choice. It's pushing you toward a path. It's putting you on a wave. Okay. You're not going whatever direction you're not like in the moment free to choose anything. You're responding to the anger. You're kind of like led around on a leash by the anger.
Let's say your kids, but like you're just seeing negative emotions negatively.
The point is you're okay with positive emotions like joy, happiness, laughter, love, but not okay with the negative emotions like sadness and anger.
Yeah, those are the ones that you have when you have peace. When you're at peace, you laugh, you smile, you sing a song, you high five, whatever. You enjoy your time. You have love.
That marks literally the 8th hour mark of this conversation. Also, BigTech hasn't
love you, buddy.
For 32 hours.
I was going for 2 hours before you guys showed up. I'm in the 11th hour of my
Thank you
stream.
so much, BigTech.
I'm not in a hurry, but if you guys want to go, I mean, we got to break it up at some point. It's true. I wish you guys well, and I appreciate you guys opening up and sharing a bunch with me and trusting me with, to be the listener to all that.
Now I saw your chat. Your chat is like ferociously haters. So good luck with that.
They're going to tell me what they think about all this. Let's see what you guys think.
If you have to do a public rug pull just for posterity, for the brand, I understand.
Well,
good night.
Bye guys. Good night. All right, so here's my thoughts on what we just experienced. I'm spending the first part of the interaction. Ben's telling me a bunch of stuff, something about serial murders and the different types of predators, enablers, and victims. There's like a lot of like masturbation talk and a lot of finger sniffing, and I'm going, okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around like, what is this conversation? What are they requesting of me? What am I doing here? What is this? I'm letting it wash over me. I'm letting Ben's energy just, I go, okay, I'm just going to allow it. And all of a sudden, my heart kind of broke for him. Like, imagine being this guy. If this is all true, and I guess I could come up with reasons to doubt it, but if I just take it as true, then god damn. Think about like a homeless maniac on the street, right? They're just like guys driving down the street one day with his family and gets T-boned by a truck. His wife and his children die. It sends him into like a terrible tailspin. Now he's like on the street screaming at people, right? And he's missing teeth and he's stinky and he's a blight on society now. And we walk by and we're like, ugh, you fucking get this piece of shit out of here. And that's true. We don't want him on the street and we don't like the guy because he's not doing any good and he's ugly and he's screaming at us and he's pissing everywhere and like he's horrible. And I can hate that. I can hate how he looks and smells and sounds and what he's saying, and he just sucks. And I wish he wasn't here in our nice downtown part of the city. And god damn it, like somebody do something about this guy. Hey, no, fuck you actually, buddy. Shut up. Leave me alone. No, and I'm not giving you any money either because you asked like in a really rude way. And like, okay, but also it's horrible what's happened to the person. I can have a human moment with this monstrous creature. He's like a maniac who's upsetting everybody. Yeah. Like how terribly unfortunate. Like, oh man, I feel bad for this guy who's like ruining this area of the town for everybody. So it was like that. And I saw Grace too. I saw Grace in it too, where it's like, all right. And at some point when she's growing up, she starts like sliding in as being a substitute mom in the family and also substitute wife with dad, and she's longing to bond with dad, and she's a little twisted in her sexuality because of porn addiction and weird influences and who knows what, and they have a bond with each other where they like love each other. And so she's like looking out for her dad. And then I think back about like what I've seen them go through, which is from the beginning of their internet arc through all sorts of weird stuff, like living in some broken toilet stinky RV and having their stuff put all over the internet and being hated by tons of people and being, toyed with opportunities that get rug pulled, and they're chasing something that's always like a little just one more step away for day after day, week, month, and they're like pressing on while they're kind of like helping each other cope through the pain of this dissolving family. And they got legal issues and they're a little out there. They're like a little crazy, like Ben does these things where I'm going to sue the police and get that judge fired, and I have every right to be here and you can't do this to me. And he's like taking a stand against the law, and that's all. And then fighting the neighbors, and they're screaming at him. He's like, wow. And it's like always something with him. He's moving some heavy safe across the country. I mean, I'm just referring to things. If you watch the streams, there's, kind of like the things I'm referring to, but they're going through all this stuff. And I see Grace, and it's like, all right, what I was interpreting is sort of like Stockholm syndrome, where she's like codependently stuck on her dad and can't let him go. That's how I've been seeing it the whole time. And all of a sudden I saw a little switch, like, well, she's kind of like standing by her dad. There is an element that seems to be there too, where she's like, well, this guy needs somebody, and it's not fair that he doesn't have a wife. Like, he hasn't had a wife. He hasn't had a lover. And everybody's accusing them of incest, and she's like, I'm trying to just like be that in my dad's life because he doesn't have it. And he needs it. And to whatever degree she can, she's like being that in his life. And I'm not saying they're having sex, but I mean, she's loving him and she's being his girl, She's like being his ride or die that he always wanted. She's trying to do that. And it's not easy. And I see her suffering through it. And that's actually kind of... That's a really nice type of giving. And it is scandalous. But it's also very sad. And in sadness, there's like sweetness. Like, the sweet thing about it is that Ben wants love. He doesn't know how to love. You've been mind raped? Yeah, probably.